Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Saturday of Stamping with Sarah. My name is Sarah Simon. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Appleton, Wisconsin, and I'm so excited to be with you today. Lots of people jumping on here already this morning. I know the last couple of weeks I've been at 12:30, so I know for my Arizona people, this is a little early, and I have a few that jump on from Oregon too, and I think this is a little early for you. So I appreciate those who have dropped in. Julie and Amanda and Kelly and Nancy. Let's see, Mary and Sarah and Mary Van Domlin, Mary Linsmeyer, Karen Karst, Lori, Linda, Betty, Sarah, and Dee. So thank you so much for joining me. Those are the ones who have commented. I know there are others who are on here, and I appreciate you being with me today. I am going to do a creative challenge today, and I last week I showed you the card that I received in the mail from Julie Grassel, and this is called a cradle card. So the card itself rests in a little cradle. And so I mentioned that maybe I would do a creative challenge, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I saved money by not going to Florida, and I saved money by not having to have a pet dog sitter. My brother ended up using my credits for my airlines, and he gave me cash for that. And I just saved a lot of money for that. So I decided I'm going to just give a little bit back. So today's going to be a creative challenge. I'm going to make 2 of these cards so that you can see that made twice in different ways, or different things on the front and different things that you can put so it doesn't always have to look the same. And then I will give you the directions. I will post it on my Facebook page. Now, if you're only on YouTube and you're not on Facebook, you can always email me the cards and I can post them for you. I'm going to post Julie's for her. I also had Becky Weisky, who saw this last week, and I had said where Julie got this from. She went and looked at Dawn's online, and she made one and sent the picture to me as well. So I will post those for you. But next week, I will draw a winner and from all the entries, and that winner can pick the bundle of their choice. So it's kind of an easy thing to do. You just get to be creative, and you get the chance for being creative to be able to be entered into a drawing. So I'll give you more of those details later after we make the cards, but I do have some happy mail to share with you. I received this beautiful thank you card from Debbie Peters. I think she won something in a drawing. So she was thanking me for that. Beautiful card with that lavender set. And then Cheryl McClure sent this beautiful thank you. I love the colors in this. And I think she was thanking me for a gift that she had, or a prize that she had won as well. So thank you so much, ladies. It's so nice to go to your mailbox and get happy mail. All right. I have prizes to give away, and then we will get to stamping. I'm also going to last week I mentioned a really cool kit that was new in the online exclusive. Well, all of our kits are online. Hello, Patricia Taylor from Arizona. It's early where you are. And Amanda and Kay jumped on since I said my hellos. I mentioned a kit that was new that was more of a activity or a make it type gifting type kit rather than a card kit. And I posted on my Facebook page this week. It's called Frog and Friends. I did receive it just the other day. And so if you would like me to, I can open this up and show you the kit. And then I thought maybe I would put one of them together for you so that you could see a little bit of what this kit is. It's only $12 and you get 6 little things that you make. It could be a really fun thing to do with kids at a birthday party, a little make and take that they could take with them. It's really cute. It could be something that you could do with your grandkids or your own kids, depending on their ages and such. So I will show you this later. And if you want me to, I can make one of them to show you what they look like. So, all right, now for prizes. Last week we made this fun fold with that zinnia. It started by saying, I don't have all the right words to say. I do have lots of love to give. And then on the inside, it was the thinking of you, praying for you, hoping with you card. And then we also used that wagon. So both of those are online exclusives. And then you open it up and it has a greeting in as well. And then it just kind of slides back underneath that little circle to hold it in place. So receiving these for commenting. So anytime you place a comment, whether it's in the live chat of YouTube right now, if it's you're watching YouTube and you put it in the comments after, or if you're not a YouTube subscriber and you're on Facebook, you can also comment on Facebook. You get entered into a drawing. And receiving these cards for commenting last week is Kathy Bradley. So Kathy, I do have your address in Illinois and I will get these off to you. And then for sharing, you can either share on Facebook, you can share, there should be in YouTube. If you get out of the live chat, there should be a button somewhere next to a thumbs up, which if you give me that, that helps me as well. But if there is a share button, you can share it in an email, you can post it on your Facebook page, however you share it. Make sure that you put that you shared, just like Amanda and Sarah and a couple of other people have done, Mary have done in the comments, so that I know that you shared, because sometimes I can see who shared, sometimes I cannot. So for sharing last week and receiving a pack of these iridescent rhinestones, I love these things. I think I love them so much because they are iridescent. Whatever you put them on, it kind of pulls in that color and they just sparkle. And receiving these, I got to look, is Carol Thompson. And Carol, I do not have your address. This is your first time winner for me. So if you could send me a private email or a private message in Facebook and give me your address, I will get these off in the mail to you. My email is createwithsarahllc@gmail, or like I said, you can private message me on Facebook. And then for placing an order. So anytime you place an order, I do have a hostess code. Let me put that up here. I'm going to get back to a different screen. That is my current hostess code that will go through Friday. Anytime you place an order, if it's under $150, I ask that you use that code. And I use the rewards that I receive to get all of these prizes. And so receiving, this is a little combination of things. So there's some of the lighter than air 6x6 paper. There's some of the laser butterfly that are there, and then some of the rainbow dots. I love these things. Receiving these for placing an order last week is Amanda Schavel, and I saw Amanda on here. It said that you were dog sitting, and it said you're trying to be creative this weekend. If you want these on the weekend because you have something that you need to make, let me know, and I'll swing them by your house later today because you don't live that far from me. So thank you to all of you who placed orders, all of you who commented, and for those of you that shared. I really, really appreciate it. So I don't like to talk a lot. So I will let you know that Stampin' Up! Is releasing their last chance products and what's retiring from the annual catalog, as well as that spring mini catalog. They are releasing those on Monday. If I get the chance on Monday night to be able to go through both of the catalogs, I will go live on Tuesday. I can't on Wednesday because I have something at church on Wednesday. And Thursday is kind of crazy. So I'm thinking on Tuesday, I will try to go live. And what I'll do is I'll just go through both of the catalogs and I'll let you know what's staying and what's retiring so that you have an idea. If it's going to be going on sale starting on April 2nd, I will let you know that as well, because they do let us know what is going to be discounted so that come April 2nd, when that starts, you are able to go, and if you're interested in something, you could go ahead and get that. We know the in colors, the in colors that are retiring are Orchid Oasis, Starry Sky, Sweet Sorbet. Which one am I missing? Which two am I missing? Let me think here for a second. Parakeet Party and Tahitian Tide. Okay, so those are the in colors that are going to be retiring. So that means the ink pad, the paper, the re-inkers, the Stampin' Blends, all of those things will be retiring, as well as almost all designer paper retires. Sometimes they will carry over one. But most of the designer papers will be retiring. So that's why today I picked my favorite designer paper from the mini catalog and my favorite designer paper from the annual catalog to make the 2 cards that I'm going to be making with that fold. That's going to be our creative challenge for the week, because I thought I'm going to use my favorites. And so you're going to see what my favorites are and know that those will probably be retiring with both of those catalogs. But anytime we have retiring things, not only does that mean that sometimes there will be sales, but it also means that there are new things coming. And I don't know if any of you follow other demonstrators who are in Houston right now at Stampin' Up's On Stage. I know a lot of people are posting things. They received the new catalog. Many of them are posting things that they've been able to see there. And there are some really cool things that are coming. And the new in colors that are coming are really happy, kind of brighter colors. Last year, our colors were a little bit more muted with the wild wheat and the boho blue and the moody mauve. They were a little bit more on the neutral side, and not neutral, but kind of like a richer side. These are much happier. There's a shy shamrock, and there's a peach pie, and there's Pretty in Pink is coming. That name is coming back, but they said the shade is just a little bit different than the old Pretty in Pink. And so that's something to look forward to as well. So I'm going to go ahead, like I said before, and switch my camera. Let's see, I have to do this and do that and do that. And I'm going to turn my overhead light off to get rid of all those shadows you see. I think that'll help with all those shadows. I think that's a little bit better. And I'm going to go ahead and, again, this is the card. This is the design that we're going to be using for our creative challenge. So for the first card, I'm using the Hooray for Surprises. We're not going to use the little quick reveal, but we're going to make a birthday card. This was one of my favorite stamp sets that was in the mini catalog, and I'm hoping that it carries over. It has some really cute dies that I kind of have a sample in here where you can make like a little pull tab and hide something behind them, or pull this and put one of the sayings behind it. And I did make a card. I think I made a couple of cards on here using the little surprise part of it. We're not going to be using that element of it. We're just going to be using the stamps today. And of course, the paper that I'm going to be pairing it with, my favorite from the mini catalog is this up in the air. I have it right here. Amanda just won it. Lighter Than Air. Okay, it's from the Hot Air Balloon set. So let me give you my dimensions, the dimensions for this. So the card itself is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. Now I can tell you with an 8 1/2 by 11, I would keep your 8 1/2 and then cut at 4 1/4 and at 4 1/4. For me, it was just easier to do it that way. And then I scored these at 1/2 inch, at 4 1/4 inches, and at 8 inches. So you can do 1/2 inch on either side and then smack dab in the middle at 4 1/4. So that's your card base. And then the little cradle that you're going to make for it to set in is 4 1/4 inches by 6 inches. Okay, and then this is scored at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, easy to remember, right? So that is the mechanics or the basis of your card. There are little pieces that you will need of a designer paper, and those measure 4 by 3/4 inch. So 4 inches long by 3/4 inch wide. So you will need a total of, and mine don't really match up here. You could make it with this paper so that they match up. These two look like they maybe match up. No, they don't. I didn't keep it so that my rainbows all match. They're just like kind of a little off there, which is fine. All right. Then you will also need your background, which is a different designer paper that goes with it. These measure 4 by 3.5. Okay, so 4 by 3.5. Now, I was going to use this fold for a swap that I'm in that that I needed to do a technique. And the technique that I did was a quilted background, which for those of you that don't know what that is, this is what a quilted background is. So I took scraps of paper and little squares of paper, and I made something that looks like a quilt, and then you run it through an embossing folder so it looks like the stitching on a quilt. Now I wanted to make this into this fold, but this is not a square. This is a square, and it looked really, really off if I cut it other than a square. So I ended up using a book fold instead. And it says there's no good card for this, and then on the inside it says cancer sucks. So I have to finish making those. I have everything cut. I have all the quilts put together. I just have to put the final cards together so I can get those off in the mail for a technique swap. All right. Then the rest of it is entirely up to you and how you want to decorate. So if we look at Julie's, she did 2 layers on each side that were 1/4 inch smaller. So if this was 4 by 3.5, this was 3 3/4 by 3 1/4. And then this was 3.5 by 3. Okay, and she did the same on both sides. I did mine a little bit smaller than that. And the reason I did mine a little bit smaller is I wanted more of those polka dots to be seen. So hers was more of like this beautiful paper that I loved, but it's more of a textured paper. And she just wanted maybe a little bit of it to seen it. She wanted her scene to be more. My scene or my stamped image wasn't going to be as big, and I wanted more of these polka dots to be seen. So I cut some fresh freesia at 3.5 by 2 3/4, and I have 2 of those. And then I did where my design is going to be at 3 1/4 by 2.5. So mine are just a little bit smaller, you can see, than the ones she did. And that's where you can really make it your own. So there's going to be the base of it, and then there is going to be how you decorate it. And so I decided to make mine just a little bit different. I have a scrap of white that I'm going to need for mine, and I have some of this paper to decorate my envelope after. All right, so let's do our stamping, and then I'll show you how this all goes together. I'm going to go ahead and kind of set these things off to the side here a little bit. All right, so these are our 2 images that we're going to stamp, and then I should have a scrap of white that I'm going to stamp. All right, let me get my stamps in here. We're going to be using some Fresh Freesia, some Daffodil Delight, some Pool Party, and of course some Azure Afternoon, because that's the color of my base. So I'm going to stamp both of my greetings. I'm going to have a greeting on the front, and I'm going to have a greeting on the back. The greeting on my front, I'm going to switch it up from what I made for my sample, because I didn't like my sample. And I'm like, if I had changed this, I would like it. So the Hope Your Birthday is Wonderful is going to be on what's going to be technically my front of my card. And I'm going to stamp that down here a little bit. And then for what's going to kind of be the back of my card is going to be the Make-A-Wish. Oh, so fun. All right, that's all I need in the Azure Afternoon. I'm going to take out some Fresh Freesia. And there is a little cake in that stamp set that has a die to cut it out. So I'm going to make that cake in Fresh Freesia. Okay, and then there is a little die, like I mentioned, and through the magic of TV, I have that die cut ready for us. Okay, also in that die set are these little flowers, and I used a little bit of Pool Party to cut one of those out, and I put it on a glue dot so I wouldn't lose it because I'm notorious for losing things. The other thing that is in that stamp set is this candle with a little wick. So we are going to put a candle. We're going to just make a little candle border on the back. So I'm going to do the fresh freesia on either end, and I'm going to do it in the middle. All right, then I'm going to take my chamois. Got one sitting here pretty handy. It's a newer one, can you tell? I'm going to clean that off. And I'm going to take some of my Pool Party, which is the background color in there. And I'm just going to do a Pool Party in between each of those. All right, I'm going to keep my Pool Party ink out because I need it for one more thing. Actually, I'm going to close it and I'll open it back up once I put this together because I'll need it just to add some accents. And then the Daffodil Delight is going to be the little wick for our candle, or the flame, I should say, that we're going to add to the wick of each of these. And they're not perfectly spaced. I could have probably measured all of them, but it's stamping, right? I mean, it's homemade, so it's not going to be absolutely perfect. You do the best you can. All right, this cake, I'm going to pop up right in the center of that with some dimensionals. And I think I'm going to put one big one up on top and a little one kind of down below it. And the reason I'm going to pop that on right now, and then this little flower that I cut, just going to add right there on our cake. And I'm going to take one of the little stamps that was in there, and this just seemed too white for me yet. And so since I have that little flower on there, I decided I was just going to make some random little flowers, stamp some along the background just to take away some of the whiteness of the background. Okay, so they can just randomly be stamped wherever you need them to be stamped. All right, I'm trying to think. I have everything stamped. I'm going to put my stamps, my ink pads away so that we can assemble. All right, so each of these is going to be attached to a layer of that fresh freesia. So I'm kind of doing this backwards and not building my car. Good morning, Kay. So I'm going to have all the layers put together and ready to go so that when I build my card, I'm ready to just put this on there and I didn't have to stop and do all the stamping. All right, so I'm going to set those aside, and now we're going to put this together. Let me grab these pieces. So for your card base, you're going to fold it in half. And then those little 1/2 inch that you scored are going to be folded up. Now, sometimes when I'm making fun folds, I like to fold them in both directions just to make them a little bit more, I don't know if you would call it pliable, better burnished, able to go in whatever direction you need it to go. Okay, so those are going to go up like that. My 2 pieces of designer paper that I had cut, those little polka dots. That is going to go on the front. And you could switch up. You don't have to have the back have the designer paper. If you just wanted to put like a place to sign, I needed a place to sign, and I just added a little greeting so that if it's standing up, it has something cool on both sides. I looked at Julie's when she sent it, and she had this beautiful, you could tell this was the front, but then look at the back, had this cute little hello on it, and there's room to write a message. Okay, so we've got our front and we have our back. These are going to go on there, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure that everything attaches, that I can attach everything well first, and then I'll add those on after. So with this piece, that's your cradle. I really recommend, and I believe that Dawn said this in her video too, making sure that you fold both ways on these score lines, because you need to have it so that these, several of them fold both ways. So they fold one way when they are in your envelope, when you send it, and then when you stand it up, it folds the opposite way to get it to stand up. So if you fold these in both directions and give them a score in both directions, it makes it a little bit easier for them to be able to. Okay, so these were all just 1-inch pieces. All right, then I'm going to fold it at the half mark. So where the 3-inch score line is, I'm going to cut that in, or fold that in half. And then I'm going to, at the top part of it where the fold is, so my fold on this, these are open down here. That's my fold. I'm just going to take this end up, and I'm going to put the one that's right next to it on top of there. And you're going to want to make sure that you let that dry. I'm giving this a really good press. If you wanted to, sometimes when I'm making fun folds, I like to use the tear and tape, because you want to make sure that everything's going to stick. Our glue is good, but it doesn't dry right away, so you have to make sure you give it some time to dry. All right. Then we want to make this into an X. So we want to take on the other side, we want to fold this so that, see how that's kind of making an X? Both of these pieces that my fingers are holding are doubled up, they're layered, and then these two are not. This is where I'm going to have my cradle, and this is where it's going to lay set on the ground. So where the two are folded and we have 2 layers coming together, that's going to be our base, and then this is going to be the cradle that we set our card inside of. Okay, so I need to attach. The glue is going to go on again on this one. Make sure I have enough glue there to hold it in place. And I'm going to attach that. I'm going to give that a really good hold again, so that I'm going to take, actually, let me take this banner off. I keep forgetting to take these off. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to my comments. Thanks for liking. Hi, Sandy. All right. So now we have our cradle. And what we need to do is we need to set this card inside the cradle. So the top of this is going to line up with the top of this cradle. And I'm going to put some liquid glue here, or you can put tear and tape if you want to. Something that's going to stick well. And I'm just going to line that up, this lined up along the top of there. So I'm going to go ahead and add my liquid glue. The only reason I like liquid glue is because if I don't get it right in place the first time, I can easily wiggle it around and get it in place where it's supposed to be. But with tear and tape, once I put it in, it's stuck for good. Okay, so I wiggled that in place so that those lines meet up. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on this other side. Okay, so I'm going to put my glue on the outside. And then you want to make sure you're grabbing the right end, not this one that's doubled up, but the one that's single. And you want to line up the top and the two edges. And then you want to give that a good press. Okay, so this is going to be one side when it's laying flat in your envelope. This is going to be the other side. And when they open it up, they can set it up like this to stand straight up. Okay, so this piece, so then this is going to fold down like this. And then they fold those up to stand it up. Now, you might have to give it some directions so that they know how that they can stand it up on that. They might be looking at it going, oh, I don't know how to do this. So you might put like a little Post-it note of some sort to let them know. Or if you hand them the card, you can let them know as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add these little, come on, I'm at the end of my glue. I was last week and I still have the same glue. Let's see here. There we go. That's just going to go in there. And we'll have another one. That goes right there. So you're getting two designer papers that kind of go together. This one's really fun. I've got a little bit of glue there. I'm going to get with my adhesive remover after it dries. If I do it while it's still wet, it creates a headache, but I really do need to get a new glue today. I was using a tape runner to do my swaps because it's a little bit easier when I'm putting all those quilts together. Hi, Aunt Mary. All right. So we have our pieces. Okay, so there's our card. It's going to go in the envelope this way. When they open it up, they can flip this down and set it so that it stands up. Fun, right? Okay, this is going to go on one side. And then the other side is going to be this one. And you could have decorated that all, like decorated the designer paper before I put it all together. I just thought, oh gosh, if I mess something up, at least where I have all my stamping, I can wait to put that on till I know that I've made the card correctly. So that's our card. Now we're going to decorate this up a little bit. Let's see here. I have rhinestones. And I'm just going to place one of our tiny rhinestones. I have a lot of packs of rhinestones. Seems like I'm always needing the little ones. But this one, it seems like I have a lot of little ones and everything else is gone. Just going to put a little rhinestone on that flower like that. And we have our baker's twine with these 3 colors. This blue is more of a balmy blue than the Pool Party. So I think instead of introducing another blue, I'm going to use the Lemon Lolly. And we'll use a little bit of yellow. I'm just going to tie a bow. I want it to be kind of a tiny bow. There we go. Might have the ends be a little bit longer. Okay, we're just going to put that like that on our cake just to add a little bit more fun to the card, right? And I'm going to attach that with a glue dot. And I'm going to take my glue dot and taking my take your pick tool, and I'm rolling it kind of in a ball. I'm going to set the glue dot where I want the knot of the bow to be. And then I'm going to take my knot and just push it right into that glue dot. So there is our card. Hope your birthday is wonderful. And on the other side, make a wish. And you got the candles. And I didn't do a really good job of spacing those out. But like I said, it's homemade, right? And it stands up just like that for them to display and be able to see their card. All right, let's go ahead and decorate this envelope. And that will be our first card using this fold. And I'm going to do one more so that you can see it again, because sometimes, and you can see a different, like I showed you Julie's and how she had 3 layers and they were all just oh shoot. Okay, I'm safe. And they were all just 1/4 of an inch smaller. I decided to skip one of those sizes and go 1/2 an inch smaller to start, and then go 1/4 of an inch smaller. So you can choose to do whatever you want. The next one, I'm not even going to do any layers like that. I'll show you some different ways that you could. And if any of you watched Dawn Stampin' Thoughts, she's the one that Julie had seen this from, and then I went and looked to see how to make it. She used the coffee set, and she just stamped and cut out some of the coffee mugs, and that's what she used for hers. So there is our first using this Creative Challenge fold, which is called a cradle. All right, I'm going to set this one aside. I'm going to keep some of this stuff out because I need it, but I think my glue, I'm going to flip upside down so it comes out a little easier. And I'm going to put all of this stuff that I use for this card on the floor. And I'm going to pick up the next one. Okay, the next set that I'm going to feature, I really hope this stamp set carries over because I love this stamp set. But I know the paper probably will not. And so that's why I decided to use this one today. The Inked and Tiled. Oh, look at that paper, right? I loved the colors that were in it. So you've got Calypso Coral, you've got Crushed Curry, Lost Lagoon, you've got Petal Pink. That's more of the same. And then there's white in there and there's off-white. So these are the 2 patterns that I'm going to be using along with a base that's Lost Lagoon. All right. So again, just so that you have the layers, the base of the card is going to be 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. I scored it at 1/2 inch on each side, so 1/2, and that's at 8, and then in the middle at 4 1/4. This was 4 1/4 by 6, and I scored it at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, that's going to make our cradle. Then I have my 4 pieces that are 3/4 of an inch by 4. And I have my 2 pieces that are 4 inches by 3 1/2. Now, excuse me, with both of these cards, this was 6 by 6 paper. And when you cut 3 1/2 by 4, you can only get 1 out of a sheet of paper. But sometimes the paper might be such that if you flip it over, like I could have used this polka dot with it. I opted for something different, but you very well could have used the polka dot as your bottom so that that could then be your 3/4 and your 3/4, and you could get 1 full side out of a sheet of paper. All right, let's go ahead. For this one, we're going to make our card first, only because the stamping is going to take place on something completely different. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half. Give that a good burnish. Then we're going to fold these 1/2 inch where we attach our cradle. We're going to fold those back. And again, just to make them a little more pliable, I'm also going to fold them the other way. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the cradle. Fold on, give a burnish on all of these. Fold them one way, fold them the other way. Like I said, some of them do fold both ways because when they're laying flat, yeah, Inked and Tiled, Lori, is one of my favorites. I'm really hoping this stamp set, I love the stamp set. I love the tiny little greetings in it. I hope that that stays even if the paper is going away. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half again. I'm going to, where the crease is, where that fold is, I'm going to take the top section, that top 1 inch section, and I'm going to attach the section that's right underneath it and give that a really good press. Okay. And then again, this section that's on the other side, I'm going to have to put glue there and attach that one to make my X. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and attach glue on the top section where it folds again. And fold this up. Give that a good crease so that I'm getting my little, what looks like an X, or my little cradle. Okay, the parts that are doubled, okay, the part underneath, this is where it's going to set. This is where it's going to open. So if you want to wait to put your designer paper on to make sure that you put it on the right one, you can, because the first one that I made, look where I put my designer paper. I put it on the wrong piece. So mine has designer paper on all of them. I ended up having to have 6 because I put it on the wrong one. So if you want to wait so you don't make that same mistake, or if you just look at it and say, here's my cradle part, I need designer paper here, and I need designer paper here, and this is the bottom part. So you make sure you put it in the right spot. Just so you don't make the same mistake I did. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'll go ahead and put this on already. Now that I made the mistake, we learn from our mistakes, right? That's what I always tell the kids when a kid is crying because they made a mistake or something didn't work. Like, don't cry. This is when the most learning's happening, because now you got to figure out what your mistake is. And when you figure out what your mistake is, then you just learned something. So it's just like we live in a world where it's not okay to make mistakes. And geez, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life and I've learned the most from them, right? All right, so we're putting these layers on. Hello, Linda. Trying to keep up with my comments. Oh, and I have my, keep forgetting to do this. I need like somebody to do my banners for me so I can just stamp and I don't have to worry about all of that. I keep putting one up and then I'm like, oh shoot, I needed to go away from that again. Okay, so there's going to be our little cradle for our card. And we'll go ahead, I'll put this on. Right there. And we'll do one on the back. Make sure you put it the right way when you have a directional DSP. And now we'll go ahead and put it together again. So again, I'm going to fold these up, My glue is going to go on here. This edge is going to be lined up with the top edge of my cradle. So I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid glue. And again, if you are one that likes to use tear and tape and you're good at not getting something in the wrong place first, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to go ahead and just kind of slide it into place. Okay, so there's that one. And I have to do the same thing on the other side. Put my liquid glue. And again, I want to make sure that I have the opening. I'm going to attach that and set it down and give it a good press. Linda, this paper is actually from the annual catalog. It's with the Inked and Tiled bundle. And it is my favorite paper that's in the annual catalog. And that's why I'm using it, because it is likely going to be retiring when the catalog retires, because they normally retire all of the designer papers. So we're kind of starting to think ahead to things that are going to possibly be retired. And I'm using those up while I can yet. Okay, so it's a 6x6 paper, and I used it a ton when the annual catalog first came out, but then they had the Christmas catalog came out, and then I used that paper, and then the spring and celebration catalog came out, and I used that paper, and now I'm coming back to my, the celebration paper is all done, and I'm coming back to my favorite. So this was one of them. Okay, so for this one, instead of doing, and I just realized I forgot to cut something, so I'm going to have to go to my Big Shot and cut something to go with this. But instead of doing something that was square and covering up more of these flowers, I decided to use one of our everyday details circles. And I'm going to stamp on here with some of those flowers as well. And I'm going to put a circle in here rather than putting something that is rectangular. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stamp on these two, and I'm going to actually cut out a stylish shaped circle to go behind it, so that Lost Lagoon comes through these little circles rather than what's in the paper. So I forgot to cut those for this, so I'm going to have to go cut those, but let's do our stamping first. So I go through a ton of thank you notes, and what I like about this stamp set is that the thank you in here is something that's really tiny, and the floral images and the greenery and stuff is really, really cool. So I can use a really tiny little greeting, which I'm going to do right here, and I'm going to put that down in the corner. And then I can take the stamped image, or this big image. I'm going to close this up because I don't need this anymore. I'm going to use markers to color this so I can make it different colors. All right, so I'm going to take my, not the blends, but the Stampin' Write markers, and I'm just going to color with the brush tip. And you kind of don't want to go on top like this. You'll ruin the tip of your marker. You kind of want to hold your marker on the side like this and color it on the side, because otherwise you are going to damage the tips of your markers. So I'm just going to make this bigger flower, the Calypso Coral, and this is going to be our petal pink. And then the petals are going to be our Lost Lagoon. And I'm going to let you know right now that you're not going to see any of those leaves, because you can see there's not much to, not a whole lot of place to stamp there. I'm coloring them in anyway, just in case they would be on there, but I didn't get any leaves on any of them. All right, now before I do this, I'm going to just like huff on this. It just kind of moistens up that ink after you've colored with it. And I'm going to set this on here and it just makes that same kind of look of those flowers is just being put onto that circle. I'm going to repeat that for 2 more times because I'm going to do it for the back, and I'm just going to leave part of the circle for me to write on, but I wanted to have just a little bit of the flowers on it to go with the front. I won't even. It just leaves me a little place I can write right over the top of that. Thanks for whatever they did for me. Or you can leave this blank, or you could just put like one of the flowers on there if you wanted to. I decided to put the whole flower. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on my envelope. So again, I'm going to color this up. Anytime you want to use multiple colors on a stamp, this is a good way to do it. It also shows you that instead of having to get all of the colors of ink pads, someone just asked me, I think it was Amanda who just signed up to be on my team. Amanda wrote, she asked me, like, how do you decide like what ink pads you're going to get? Well, now because of the classes and stuff that I do, I have all the ink pads. But when I first started out, I got the ones that I thought that I would use the most. And I usually got all the markers because if I wanted to stamp something with a different color, I could color it with a marker and go ahead and do that. There's also the ink spots that they have now that you can get a re-inker, and you could ink those up into whatever color you want. If you do paper pumpkin, you get these little Stampin' Spots. So like this is Night of Navy. So if you do that and save some of those, you also have some different inks. This one I'm going to put up a little higher and get some of those petals. So there's my envelope to go with my card. All right, I'm going to step away for just a second. I have to find my stylish shapes to pull them out of my bucket, and I have to get some Lost Lagoon paper. And I'm just going to cut out 2 of these quickly. And I happen to have 2 sets of these dies. I just want to make sure I grab the right one. That's it. So I just have to pass it through once. 1 and 2. Okay, there we go. What is the name of those dies? These right here, Everyday Detail dies, Julie. They go with, if you're looking for a bundle, they are with this bundle with the little nest, the teacup, and the floral image. And then they come with the rectangle ones. Don't have these on a magnetic strip yet. These make a pattern like, let me see if I still have the card sitting around here. I made a card with those right here. So this cuts out a little X like that. Okay, we made this one a couple weeks ago. And then it has circle ones. And then it has, whoops, here are the rest of the circle ones. I'm like, there's more circle ones than that. And then it has these little, they look like the 5 on a dice, on a die, that are a little bit littler. They're littler than this big X. They are my favorite. I'm really, really hoping that those carry over into the next catalog. I'll find out, I guess. I do know that I did see from somebody who was posting pictures of some of the things that they got at the Stampin' Up! Event in Houston. There was a set of circle dies that had circles like, or little holes like this around them. They also had different designs around the outside so that you could pair them up. It looked like you got two of the same thing, but each one had a little bit different design around the outside so that you could mix and match and stamp over them. Lori's saying that one of her favorite ways to use the stamp set is by using markers. Yep, I have used this stamp set for a couple of different things, and whenever I use this image right here, I always use markers. And you can color it any color you want. I colored it colors that were in the paper, but you could really color it. You could use any other papers that aren't these design. That's why I think it might carry over, because you don't have to have this paper to be able to make that floral image. It's really cool. And they do have like this little branch that you could put off to the side to make it even bigger. They do have like this greenery and then this flower that matches one of the some of the stuff in the paper. But it has all these tiny little greetings. So if you're ever just looking for a tiny greeting, it matches that really well. And this was came with a double punch. So there was a punch that looked like an X, and then there was one that was filled in a little bit more. All right, let's go ahead. So if this is our front, I'm going to go ahead and attach this. And I put everything down with glue, and I didn't pop anything up here. You could pop it up if you wanted to. I suppose you could have popped one of the layers up, the white even could have popped up on the Lost Lagoon. I think I'm going to pop this up just a little bit more. And then our back, where we can write a little greeting. And if you wanted to make it different, you could put your back, could be something that was rectangular and not cut out in a circle again. You didn't have to do two circles. I just decided to carry it over from the front, but you wouldn't really have to do that. You could make it however you want. So if you decide to participate in this challenge, oh, Karen, now I really want this stamp set and paper. I know the paper is so cool. I'll bring out the other patterns so that you can see it as well. Okay, so there's our back. Here's our front. Now I just wanted to add a little bit of something. So we have this, what is it called? Bordered ribbon, and it's in Lost Lagoon. It is my favorite ribbon right now, one of my favorite ribbons, because it ties such really nice bows. And you can tie tiny bows because it's thin. And I really hope this carries over to the next catalog because, like I said, it is my favorite. The black and white gingham is a favorite of mine. This is a favorite of mine. I think last week I used the, what is it called? Lemon Lime Twist. It comes in a combo pack. I love both of the ribbons in that combo pack, the Petal Pink and the Lemon Lime Twist. But I just wanted a little tiny little bow, and this ribbon is super easy for that. And I'm just going to take a glue dot and pop my glue dot where I want the knot to be, which is going to be about right there in the corner. And we'll just pop that right on there just to add a little something. Okay, so there is our second cradle card that will stand up like that for the recipient, and there's a little place to write on the back. Now, some of the things that I thought of with this fold, and there's that new stamp set that's an online exclusive. It's not available right now, but it's that scripty one that you could put, like if you had a really thin greeting, you could put it along one of these strips instead of having designer paper if you wanted to, and then just put something up here. There's a lot of different things that you do. Oh, you know what? Look what's sitting here, my Link of Stella. I'm just going to add a little bit of bling or shine, glimmer, glitz, whatever you want to call it, to each of these flowers. There we go. Yeah, so for this stamp set, with this bundle, you know, you wouldn't have to have the punches that really go with it. They do punch out the greetings pretty nicely, but the floral images and stuff that are in this, I just love them. This was one of my favorite sets, and it was one of my favorite papers when it first came out. It still is my favorite in the annual catalog. No, Julie, Wink of Stella is not back in stock. It's a manufacturing issue. They can't get it from the manufacturer. And I heard from somebody else that not only is Stampin' Up! Not able to get it, but it's hard to find anywhere, even if you try to look for it like on Amazon or anything like that. I've heard that it's just a manufacturing issue. Whoever manufactures it has not been able to keep up, or whatever the case may be. So there's isn't even it says to be determined when it's coming back in. So I don't even know when it might be coming back in. Okay, so here's Julie's beautiful card that she sent to me, which was our inspiration for our creative challenge. So thank you for that, Julie. Here is one of the cards that I made where I used a circle in the center. And then here is the other one that we made with the Hooray for Surprises. Both of them just a very different feel, but it is the exact same card where it's in this little cradle to stand the card up when you receive it. All right, so if you make this fold, I will be posting on Facebook. I will hoard my one wink. Yeah, you should. I will be posting the dimensions along with a picture of these. And on that post, it'll say Creative Challenge, and it'll say if you want to participate, you just have to post your picture in the comments on Facebook. Now, in the past, I've had some people tell me I'm not on Facebook. Go ahead and either DM me a picture or email me a picture, and I would be happy to post it for you, because it's really easy for me to do that, and you can still get included in the drawing. All right, one last thing that I said that I would do. Let me go back to here we go. I mentioned last week this Frog and Friends kit, and I did get mine, and I thought that I would take it out. So it comes in a little box like this. It's $12 for the kit. It does have a warning on it because it has the little parts that are for the food for the animal that you're making, and it's part of the toy. And it says it's not recommended for under age 3 for choking reasons. And you'll see why when I open it up. Oh, I want to make sure my markers stay there. All right, so when you open it up, it's going to have a little packet that has, these are like little acrylic, and there's like a little worm. There's 2 worms, there's 2 fish, and there's 2 flies. Okay, so those are going to be your little pieces. I opened it already, so my saran isn't there anymore, but this will be like this, and all your stuff will be inside of there. And you just have to cut it open. I'm going to get rid of my box. I'm going to get rid of my saran now. I was trying to keep it all together. I'll put it back in the box when I'm done. So you get some of these little googly eyes. You get some of the string that will attach what the animal eats to it. You have these cutouts that have little pieces, strips of glue to attach to where they need to be attached. So you don't even have to have any glue for this. Everything has it. You have 2 sheets because there are 2 of each of the animals. So you've got a frog, you have a shark, and I think this is supposed to be a fish because that looks like a little fin. All right, so those are the animals that you have. If you take this flyer and you open it up, they show you with pictures how to put it together. This is the string, and it tells you that you need 12 inches or 30.48 centimeters. They have a ruler along the side, so you don't even have to go get a ruler to measure out your string. It kind of has arrows to put it together, But then there's also a QR code right here. So if you take your phone, an iPad, whatever you have, and you put it on camera and you line it up over the top of this, a little URL will pop up. And if you click on that, it will take you to a video of how to put all of these together as well, which is kind of nice because sometimes you're looking at pictures. You know how like when you get some of those furniture things, bookcases, that kind of stuff, Saunders, whatever, and you're trying to put those together and you're like, who in the heck wrote these directions? Because they're crappy, right? It's hard to understand them sometimes and figure out what they wanted you to do. Well, with this, not only do they have the pictures, which might be hard to understand, they have a video that you can watch where you can actually see somebody put it together. Hi, Carol. All right. So, okay. Let's see. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick the animal that you want to make. So let's go ahead and just do the frog for now. I'm going to go ahead and look at what they tell me to do for the frog. So it tells me these are the parts I'm going to need for the frog. So I've got this part. I'm going to need some string. I'm going to need 2 eyes. I'm going to need a fly of this little acrylic thing. So there's the fly. And then I need 2 of the stickers. So what happens with, oh shoot, I just ripped it, but that's okay. Be careful when you pull the sticker off. This is just going to go right on this acrylic block. And I can line this up so it doesn't look like I tore it. All right, and then we have another one, and I'll be more careful with this one so I don't tear it. And that's going to go on the back. Okay, so this is what my frog is going to be eating. So it's going to be attached to that. If I open it back up, it tells me that I needed 12 inches of this string. So I'm going to go ahead. The hardest part is always finding the end with these because they have them wrapped really well. There it is. Okay, so you can use your ruler if you want. That's on here. So up to there is 9. And so then I need 3 more. So I'm going to cut it right about there. And if I cut it there, I'll have enough to make all 6 of my animals. There'll be enough on here. If I don't measure it and I just cut and I cut too big, I might not have enough string for everything. So that's why it's important to sort of follow that. So I've used the string, I've used my sticker, and I've used my acrylic block. So I'm going to set those off to the side. I'm going to set these off to the side because we're just going to make one today just to show you how fun it is. Here's the string that I cut. And then since I'm making the frog, he needs some of his back and front legs. So you just punch these out. See how fun this could be like for a kid's birthday party or something? All right, I don't have kids, but I think this would be fun. maybe I think it's fun because I don't have kids, right? Oh, Amanda's saying that her kids would love this. Okay. Yeah, and it's $12. So if you have 2 kids, they could each make 3 animals. They could give it away as a gift. Okay. This little arrow is telling us that this is where I need to put my string. So I'm going to pull off these. And I'm going to take my string and I'm going to put it right in that glue or that sticky. Okay, then this is going to come around. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and attach these. It's telling me to bring these 2 together. And this is the really sticky stuff. So you only get 1 chance. See, I like stuff that I get a little bit more chance to get at get it right. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to squeeze that. Oh, look at how cute that is, right? Isn't that cute? All right, so I've got my little string coming out. Then I still have to put my eyes on, and there's little dots right here where I can put my eyes. Make sure I get the sticky off of it. Easter's coming up. This could be a fun little craft if you've got little kids coming over for Easter, right? You can have them put this together. And then if we look at our image, we've got the little legs like this are going to go in the back like that. And these are going to go in the front like that. Isn't that fun? And they have little glue right here. So you can just take that off. It even has a little mark so you can see where to attach that glue. Let's get it on my little mark here. Okay, and then it has little marks right there and right there for me to attach the little arms. There's like a little bendy thing here. So I'm going to put that one there. There's a little crease right here, bendy thing. Crease. Okay, and that's going to go on that. So there's little lines that tell you right where to line that stuff up so you don't have to try to figure it out. There's my little frog. And now I'm going to attach. This is where the kids might need a little help. Going to tie this in a couple of knots here. Whoops. All thumbs today. I know that's gross, but it works. Come on. There we go. And then okay, I didn't do a very good job of tying that, but that's where the kids might need a little help. Okay, so what you do with it is you take and you try to flip and catch. You want to get the fly to go in the mouth of the frog. So they've got to kind of flip it. I don't have enough room or I'm going to hit my camera. They're going to go ahead and flip it. And you're going to try to get it so that whatever they eat goes inside their mouth. So you've got the frog, you have the shark with the fish, and you have this little, it looks like a little fish, I think, because it's got a little fin here and something on the side, unless it's supposed to be a bird, because there's a worm. So you've got this other little yellow one here. I don't know if it's supposed to be a bird or if it's supposed to be a fish. I can't tell if that's a feather or a fin. I think it might be a feather. Might be a bird, especially with it being a worm. Are worms, fish eat worms too. So I think it's a fish. It looks more like a fin than it does a feather. All right. So I thought I would at least share that with you because I did get it because I thought it was so darn cute when I saw it. And I'm like, I know some people who might think that this is fun to have for their grandkids or for their own kids. Or like I said, if you're having some kids over for Easter, it could be something that they could play. It's kind of springy with the animals and stuff like that. So I just thought that I would share that fun little kit with you. All right. So again, we've got our creative challenge with our cradle card. We got example 1, example 2. We threw in a little bit of fun. Let me see if I can come back to you now. Here and here. Here I am. Oh, thank you so much for joining me. Oh, Carol said she got it for your niece. Awesome. Yeah, I hope that it is a fish. That's what I thought. It's a goldfish. Thank you. it looks more like a fin than it does a feather. So I was thinking it was a fish, and fish eat worms. So that would make sense. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I will have the creative challenge stuff up hopefully within the half an hour. And then if you make the cards, go ahead and post them for others to see them. I will do the drawing next Saturday. I'll be live again at 8:30 in the morning. And yeah, I think that's it. If you are looking to see what the retired things are going to be, and if any of that retired stuff is going to be going on sale starting April 2nd, I will be doing that live. I'll probably try to go on Facebook and YouTube if I can, at the same time on Tuesday. I don't know what time on Tuesday yet. So if I can kind of figure it out and I got it going, I'll put an announcement ahead of time. But otherwise, you can always go back and watch the replay. So thank you so much. I hope that you guys have a great weekend. I'm so excited because my sister's coming to town. My brother, who's been in Arizona, is in town with his wife. So we're all getting together for dinner tonight. So I'm super excited to see everyone. So hope you have a great weekend as well. Hope that you can find some time to be crafty. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.